All right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you your new moon solar eclipse astrology for the 4th of December, 2021. We have the moon and the sun both in the sign of Sagittarius lining up at 12 degrees, which puts us about 11 degrees off of the node. Anything within 18 degrees of the nodes of the moon, are what determines the eclipse. So although this eclipse, this new moon, is a bit off of the node, it's a very, very powerful eclipse. Ending our year, and it's also ending the eclipses within Sagittarius and Gemini as the nodes are about to move into Scorpio and Taurus. And the past 18 months, year and a half that we've had the North Node in the sign of Gemini, it's been about seeking answers. It's about seeking truth, seeking something different, seeking knowledge that's different from the knowledge that we are used to. Here, you have a headache, take an aspirin. You know, we can look at this as traditional medicine. Western medicine, not necessarily traditional, Western medicine here in my country of North America. Doctors often don't look for the causation of the problem, but they're just trying to fix the symptoms. And that aspirin will certainly fix the symptom, but what is the causation? And that's something the North Node has been asking us. Well, how do we fix the causation? What's the root? And what information do I need to seek? That's something that, again, is different than what I've been told or different than what I'm used to. Now, Gemini, where the North Node is, of course, this is in opposition to the North Node. This is a South Node eclipse. The South Node eclipse is letting go, releasing of information. So North Node Gemini, this is about my information, what I'm aware of in my environment. And in Sagittarius, this is collective knowledge before we get to Capricorn, which is government and big business, which we'll play into that, and I'll talk about that in a second here. I'll show you the chart. So Sagittarius deals with philosophy, education, religion, ideologies. It deals with collective knowledge that you have to seek outside of your own environment in order to find. You know, it's the fire, it's the distant fire. So what's going on over there? And I'm the centaur, you know, the half man body, conscious mind, with the horse legs that allows me to get wherever I need to go. So in a certain sense, this new moon solar eclipse new beginning says I'm willing to put myself in a position, and I'm able-bodied enough to get whatever I need to get to obtain the knowledge I need to obtain in order for me to expand. Now, we have to remember that the ruling planet or planet associated with Sagittarius is Jupiter, which deals with expansion and says more knowledge. More knowledge is what? Is a greater gift. So the more that we know about something, the greater it is. The more that we dive in, the more that we are aware of. And this is a personal journey seeking information. Now, there's also this sense of, well, I am the philosopher, I am the teacher, I am the educator, I am the government, and what I say, we used to have to take verbatim. And it was what it was. And it's not until recently, here we are in the age of Aquarius. Jupiter is in Aquarius right now, which deals with, of course, the community and deals with technology. And Aquarius is the knowing in astrology. It's not I believe, which is where we're coming from in the age of Pisces. I believe my pastor, I believe my rabbi, I believe my teacher knows what's best for me. I believe my government knows what's best for me. I believe the educational authorities, the political authorities, the religious authorities know better for me than I know for myself. and we're discovering that that's not the truth. Not always the truth. There's a lot of individuals that have a lot of information that we're able to tap into that are able to help expand our minds. And there's some where it's like, this is all the information that they know, so that's the information they pass down and they pass down and they pass down. And we're at this beautiful spot where we can now take this person's information and what they're aware of, and this person's information and what they're aware of, and this person's and this person, and then we can decipher and discern for ourselves what that truth is. You know, let me show you the chart here. 12 degrees. Sun, moon conjunction, new beginning here. If we just look at this without the eclipse, new beginning in Sagittarius. Sun and moon were working together, my emotional needs and the hero of the story, saying I need to expand. I'm showing up for my own self-expansion. This eclipse is also conjunct Mercury. Since Mercury is the closest to the sun, and these nodes are within an 18 degrees. Now, normally a conjunction, we would say, is about 8 degrees in astrology before it starts to really lose its potency. This is really interesting. Although Mercury is 15 degrees away from this south node, we're talking about our mind here. We're talking about our thoughts, our beliefs. This is what I believe. I believe my government says this. All right, I'll get into it. I'll believe that my government is saying we have this deadly virus and this is how you have to deal with it. I can tell you, I'm just getting over this. And I did not do what my government told me to do. Now, I'm not recommending that for everybody. But there are certainly alternative ways to going about healing, to going about educating people. And the south node here says I have to be willing to let go of what these authorities are telling me is the ultimate truth. Again, Gemini here, North Node, this is my personal truth. This is what I believe. This is what the collective of individuals, the higher thinking, this is the board of directors in Sagittarius. This is the gurus. This is the top doctors in the field that have collectively got together and decided on what they think or believe is accurate. And now when we're dealing with belief, it's a very fine line, because we can have an emotional attachment to a belief. And when that gets challenged, we want to grab on and hold on to our belief, because this is what was told to us, or this is what our parents might have told us, or our family member, or a trusted loved one, or our educational system, and we can say that this is the only way. Recently I talked about this Bufo experience I had, and the doctor that I worked with to receive this medicine, he's a real doctor that used to say this, any alternative medicines were garbage. You'd ruin your brain by microdosing psilocybin or anything like this. This is what he would tell his patients. And he smiled so big as he told me this story. He's just like, man, was I wrong? And he's just like, and I've found that this use of psilocybin helped expand my own mind, the use of these alternative medicines. He's like, where I'm just writing people scripts and saying, here, because this is the education, the very expensive education that school that I went to. Here's your script, and I know that this script, and this was done by the best doctors in the best labs across the country, and this is your medicine. you know. Recent story I was told about a young man who is dealing with depression, something that we all deal with, something that we may have all been dealing with in very recent times, if not currently dealing with. There are ways to deal with depression, different ways. There are medications, most certainly. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to tell people to stop taking medications. But it is important to share these stories. I don't know exactly what medication this is. I can find out and I can share this. Gentleman took one pill of this antidepressant pill, and is now he can't function as a man. Okay, he can no longer get erect and ejaculate. Now, that's a lot for an astrology video, but it's, we're talking about life. Astrology is about life. It's not just this planet here in this sign. This is life. Okay, and we're talking about philosophy and education. This is how we educate ourselves here in the sign of Sagittarius, expanding our minds through education. And the only way to do that is by cross-examining. Okay, now we have to look as well that this 12 degrees is not far off here from this 9 degrees Saturn here in Aquarius. 25 degrees here, Jupiter in Aquarius. The community and educating ourselves. And the apocalypse is among us. The apocalypse means the great unveiling. It doesn't, that's it's a a word that has been bastardized in this Christian ideology. That's the end times and the four horse of the apocalypse, and people are going to die, and now human beings are going to rise up and float up into the sky. If you want to believe that, that's up to you. But that's not what apocalypse means. It means the great unveiling. We are in the great unveiling, and this eclipse is a big one, because this is, again, the end of the information. We're dealing with information, individual information, collective information. Before what? We're moving into Taurus, Scorpio. Clearing our shadows for the next year and a half. Clearing out all of this stuff, this existential dismantling. Highly recommend. Just watched it with my friend last night. Great movie by David O. Russell called I Heart Huckabees. Star-studded cast. Fantastic movie. Now, back to this gentleman here. Received one pill, and he can no longer function, and he's a young guy. Can no longer function, can no longer have a child if he wanted to. Because this pill was given and said, this is your cure. This is your medicine. This is what's going to help you. And I'm not laughing at this case. But what is the ripple effect that is going on now? Is a greater side of depression that this gentleman has ever going to deal with than the depression he was already dealing with once he received that pill. And here we talk about on this channel, a drum circle is proven to have a greater effect than any pill that exists on the market for helping depression. Because we're working with the community, we're finding that rhythm, we're working together. And that does something to our bodies. I can't explain that. I don't have the full spectrum of science to fully explain it. But I've witnessed it. I've experienced it. I enjoy them. I encourage them and host these kinds of these events, these drum circles. Why? Because they have a greater effect. So on one hand, we have a doctor saying, take a pill. This pill is going to do this thing for you. On the other group, we have this scientist saying, actually, this is going to work really great for you. And then we have ourselves, because it always comes back to self here. And my emotions, what am I willing to do? Am I willing to put myself in a drum circle? Am I willing to seek out this alternative medicine? Or do I, because it's what I'm used to. You're sick, you have a cough, you have a cold, you go to the doctor, you get your pill, and you go home and you take it. Again, there's a lot of beauty in Western or North American medicine, but there's a lot of BS in it. There's a lot of beauty in religion. There's a lot of BS in it. We know, if you follow me on this channel, that it deals with astrology. It deals with the precession of the equinox and where the sun is rising for the great year, the great age for the 2,150 years. The age of Aries is over, which is the ideology of Judaism. That age is over, but there's a lot of people that practice Judaism. The age of Pisces is over, which ruled the age of Christianity, the personification of the sun as a form of Jesus, or the personification, Jesus, as the sun. We're in the age of Aquarius, which is knowing. And we have to be able to look at the evidence, to look at the information in front of us. And even if this is something that goes against the grain, goes against everything that we've been taught, to really look at this stuff and be open to the expansion of what this knowledge has for us. And we're not going to get on a whole big astrotheology kick today. But this deals with, this is a very big eclipse, and we're all dealing with it. You know, again, does our government really have the best interest for its people? And I think the past 2 years of dealing with COVID, strip clubs were open, but churches were closed. Why? Why? Good, healthy restaurants were closed. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell were open. This food is I'm not getting down on anybody for eating that food. But, it's like the people that were affected by this virus were people that were, not the healthiest of diets. Why? We have to ask ourselves these questions. We have to ask ourselves, do you have the best interest for me? Is this continuation of booster shot after booster shot? I had a Friendsgiving on Sunday. Everybody got COVID. I got COVID. I took natural remedies, plants from the Amazon, which I'm very, very excited to share with you. I have a new company coming out, which is why I've been down in the Amazon. I'll be going again in a couple weeks. Working with these plants from the Amazon that have beautiful healing properties. And making some of these plants and giving them to these people that have COVID have almost immediate results. Immediate turnarounds. We're not talking about ivermectin. We're not talking about a vaccination. Another thing I want to share is that the people who already had COVID didn't get COVID again because they built up natural immunities. This right there goes against everything that our government is telling us. Goes against it. But what is truthful? The truth is right in front of my face. And it's up to you to however you want to take it. So we're dealing with a very big picture. Again, educationally, is learning calculus in high school more important than learning how to grow your own food? How many people get out of high school and don't know how to cook a proper meal? There's programs for adults how to boil an egg. And it's funny because we're in the age of knowing, age of Aquarius, where you can literally grab the computer out of your pocket and type in how to boil an egg. Okay, bring the water to a boil, 7 minutes. And you got a boiled egg, and it's trivial. It's like, it seems so small, but yet people don't know this. We're not being educated. We're not educating people properly. Something else is talk about here. Here in my city, very close to me, is Oxford. I have friends that kids go to that school. If you're familiar with the Oxford shooting that just happened, 15-year-old kid. This is important. 15-year-old kid, had a semi-automatic weapon his parents had just bought. I don't know if it was mom or dad. His parents just bought this weapon in November. Kid brought it to school, came out of the bathroom, and started opening rounds. It didn't aim it at jocks, didn't aim it at this person or this person or this person. It was just spraying down a hallway. And it's terrible. Why? A child that is shunned by the city will burn it down to feel its warmth. It's an African proverb. If we educate our kids on bullying, if we educate our teachers on how to recognize this, on how to really care and be empathetic, why are we not paying our teachers enough money to educate the youth of tomorrow? But yet we're paying Hollywood stars millions of dollars because they created an entertainment, a movie for us. You know? The guy that made The Hangover, I've been on his jet. It's $55 million jet. It's like, wow, man, you did a really great job making that movie, and you got a $55 million jet. Not you know, people can have nice things. It's fine. But the balance is so off in this world of what we value. Value Venus in Capricorn, creating a septile to the south node of this eclipse. What do we value? Why are we putting value on what? So now this 15-year-old kid is being tried as an adult. This kid cannot. You got to be 21 to have alcohol. You got to be 21 to have tobacco. 18 years old, you can go fight for your government and die for this country. 15 years old, he's being tried as an adult. Now let's go back to Alec Baldwin on this movie set that we've talked about in the past as well. Is Alec Baldwin being... the parents are also being trialed as well. So it's not just the shooter, not just the young boy who can't even drive a car yet, who is a minor, being trialed as an adult, and his parents being held responsible. Now, there should be responsibility held. How did this young child get a hold of the weapon? Of course, that comes down to the parents. So, of course, there's responsibility involved there. Okay? So, they're coming at this young boy, and 4 people died and 7 are injured. It's an absolute tragedy. Now, here we have a movie set. Here, shoot the gun. Boom. Oh my God, there was a bullet in it. You just murdered someone and you injured the director. You murdered the director of photography and hit the director as well. And through lawyers and all of this stuff, through money, they're weaseling their way out of the responsibility of taking a human life. Oh, but this 15-year-old kid who's just a kid, and those parents who they're not big political, they don't have lobbyists, they're just people, are getting the books thrown at them. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but what is wrong is that it's not equal. Why does the celebrity not have the same accountability? What do we value? Why do we value one more than the other? Do we value this life over this life? This is a heavy astrology report. But this is very real. And we have to be able to communicate with one another about these hard topics. We have to be able to communicate with each other on what we're doing on this world and on this planet, and how we're educating each other, how we're taking care of each other, how we're growing, how we're expanding from the youth to young adults to elders. And what is the best way for us to go about life to make it sustainable? How to educate us properly. And the powers that be, want to keep and maintain control. The Christian church doesn't want you to know about the astrology. They don't. Why? Because it can deface the existence of it. It shows us that it's not a real story. So they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that drum circles are going to be better for you than a pill. Why? Because it takes money out of their pocket. Money, power. Who are we giving our money to? Who are we giving our attention to? Who are we giving our faith? Who are we believing in? Jupiter deals with faith and belief. Who are we putting our faith in? Who are we believing in? And you don't even have to believe me. I encourage everyone to do their own research. But asking these questions, and I'm not the only one that's like, there's something wrong and something weird is going on here. And another great, a couple great aspects, and Mars still, it's like Mars is still home in Scorpio, going through its shadow. And it's just like, it can be ugly. It can be ugly here. I don't want to deal with the muck. I don't want to deal with the dirt. I don't want to deal with sweeping the stuff out from under the rug that I've worked so hard to put under the rug so I didn't have to face it. This eclipse is bringing it up. We have no choice. And Mars isn't even here yet at the eclipse. It's close. It's like they kind of all are working together, even though this is a very loose conjunction. 7 degrees here between Mars and the South Node. But they'll be connecting very soon. And we're going to re-experience some of what we're experiencing here on Saturday morning. Again, this happens at 2:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mars creating this quincunx, or sesquisquare, to Chiron. So it's like we don't see the healing that's going on. It's like we take the pill, we trust. We go to the drum circle, we don't know, is this really working or not? This quincunx here, it's happening, is between the moon and the sun, and Uranus here in Taurus, which Uranus and Taurus is shaking up the tradition. This is shaking up the foundation of everything that we know. Let me come back here for a second. This is for a moment. Let's just say there's no clocks. Let's just truly try to imagine this world. There's no clocks. There's no calendar. There's no religion in the world. There's no belief system that says this is the supreme deity, this is the thing that you have to believe in this. We can look at what do we have? What is here in front of us? We have nature. We have the elements, water, earth, wind, fire. We have something that's sustaining all of this life. There's some great force. We don't quite know what it is, but we're grateful for its existence, this breath of life that we all experience. What do we do now? How do we go about our life? If all of that other stuff disappeared, if the religious ideas disappeared, how do we conduct our lives? If we choose to educate the youth ourselves, if we made our own schools, what would they look like? How would we want to educate our children? How do we want to educate people, adults? We have this great reset going on right now, and it's needed to wash away the past. A new chapter. 12 degrees of Sagittarius is the widow, the recent widow, ending the marriage. Marriage isn't ended because the two separated. It's one partner passed away, and now the widow is left. The remnants of that marriage still live on. The remnants of this relationship are present within this person. However, the relationship is no longer there. So there's a new beginning. There's a new chapter in that life, independently. The things that we once relied on are not there anymore. And we have to independently seek out and do things differently than we would have or did had that partner still been there. So the memories can still exist, but we're in a very new space, in a new place of discovery. And in this new place of discovery, we get to create. We get to forget about the ideas of what it means to be a man, of what it means to be a woman. Oh, you're a man and you like football in blue, and you're a woman and you like ballet in pink. This is not true. That might be for some, but that's not how it is for the whole world and all of masculine and feminine. And then we have the news telling us this is again, I work for TV. They're getting paid. There's a conversation I had with someone recently, and it's like, we had news in early in the morning, then at 5 o'clock, and then 10 p.m. at night. So it's like, okay, so we have a duty to give people news, to educate people of what's happening here in our environment, what's happening here in our social community. And this is the news. Okay. And how do we get people? Scare tactics will help get people back. I see it all the time. Through tarot readers and certain astrologers. You need to see this before this happens. And they're using scare titles. Oh my God, what happens if I don't watch this video? Maybe they've got some educational information there for me that I need to know. They use a scare title tactic to grab your attention, to reel you in. The news does the same thing. So then we went from the news a couple times a day to news 24 hours a day. Multiple stations, news 24 hours a day, CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, not MSNBC. So we have, someone's being paid to say, okay, we have to talk about something. We have to continuously talk about something. So let's talk about something. Let's create something to talk about. And how much are we giving? We've got Mars here, digging up the crap that we're all dealing with, creating this trine to Neptune here, media, the abyss, the unknown. Do we believe every single thing that they say? Do we take it verbatim? Are we allowing ourselves to break free from those grasps? Breaking free from these concepts of what people tell us, of how, one should be, how you should think, how you should feel, how you should pray. This is a new beginning, friends. We get to set down the armor. We get to set down whatever it is that's going on. We get to really let it go and start fresh. This is a great opportunity for humanity to start fresh. Something I'm very excited about. A fresh start is something that we very much need. All right, friends. Hope you have an amazing eclipse, an illuminating, expanding, and at the end of all of this, Jupiter is the planet of joy. Jupiter is the planet of joy. It's in the community sign of Aquarius until December. It's going to move into Pisces. But again, Jupiter is a planet associated with this, so it's like our community. by talking with our community, embracing our community, by not being afraid to be strong leader within our community, to talk about these things that might be controversial. And we're talking about a lot of controversial stuff here, and that's okay. We have to be able to talk about this stuff and be joyous and fill ourselves up with so much joy for life that it spills. This could be it as well. A new beginning in finding joy for myself, in finding peace and acceptance within myself. All right, friends. I love you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.